It was time to check on the status of our intense feeding and install our insulator boxes on the hives. The first hive was our Atlantis hive, and we had noticed that it really wasn't loading up as much as I'd like to see. You're really going into winter, you want every single frame full of sugar water or honey. You want to have enough in there that they will make it through the winter. Still, they've been taking a lot in. They had a lot of area to fill, and it wasn't happening too much. But they're starting to draw out and fill up the rest of the comb. I wish they got it all the way to the edge, but they don't. Capping a little bit. Now we'll keep the sugar syrup on them for quite a while. This is more of what I want to see. And the rest of the comb has a lot in it. So there's also a lot downstairs. I felt the general weight when I put the metal bars, metal panels on the bottom. So these things have a small vent in the front. And we'll eventually have the burlap in the back. It's going to be open. And when we do the oxalic acid, I'm going to close off the vent here. But then as we get into November, we're going to fill this up with the burlap, which will absorb the moisture from the hive. Check our bottom panel. The whiteboard at the bottom tells us we still have lots of those nasty little hive beetles. I'm going to clear these boards before we do our acylic acid. When we put them in, they'll look kind of white like this. And then we'll do the acylic acid treatment, and then we're going to have the panel in there, grease it down, and any mite drop we get from in the hive will show up on the panel the next morning, and we'll know if we had significant mites. Yesterday I actually lifted the hives up and put these white pieces of sheet metal underneath them. And with the exception of the front where the entrance is, this is where the insulation will go to keep the hive warm during the winter. And we're going to move right on to our Mesopotamia hive without pause. Not anywhere near as many hive beetles in this hive. I think when it comes to honey stores, as you can see, there is still some capped brood in there, but they're filling the rest of it up with honey. Well, that's kind of what we want this time of year. More than anything else, we want nice, strong stores going into the winter. We want to have the bees free of mites. We want the population to be good and plenty of food available for them. Putting on the insulated top box. We're going to move right on over to Troy. And we have some more bees under the cover on this one. Just take a quick look at a couple of these frames in here. Again, they're filling it up with honey. We cut a couple of cells there. They're going to have to work on that. Get that cleaned up a little bit. But almost every frame is heavy. That's what we want going into winter. Let's see if we can't free this girl. She got herself tangled a little bit. There we go. Now girls, you don't want to be on that much. That's for the hive beetles to die on. Again, this box goes on. Something to note, just makes for a very easy check during the winter as to who's all where. See how the cluster's going. Now, the bottom gap here, they'll propolize. The top gap I taped over. The only way that's going to end up sealed is if I tape it over, because the bees can't get up there to propolize that groove. So we tape the outside of it. Again, during the winter, this will have burlap in it, which will also go over the burlap and help insulate things. The hives will get the foam wrap, and then they're going to get a cloth wrap around them. The cloth wrap will be able to open up and look in the hive. The foam wrap will stay put. And I'm going to keep the feed up, even though they're fairly full. The feed jar will tell us when they're done. When they stop taking feed out of that bottle, then I'll stop feeding them. And the acrylic acid treatment, as I say, we'll start in probably about a week. For now, we give them feed. They have their new top. And all 3 hives are hopefully happy.